For a long time, Bill O'Reilly has wanted nothing more, perhaps, than to simply call Barack Obama a drug dealer, and he's come as close as he's probably going to get to. Listen to this clip.
And it's simply stunning that our culture has evolved to a point where the sale and use of hard narcotics is now acceptable. President Obama is leading the way on this, classifying drug dealing, hard drug dealing, as a, quote, nonviolent crime. That sends a signal to the country that, you know what, it may be illegal to sell drugs, but it's not all that bad. And the left is generally supporting the madness.
So yes, Bill O'Reilly saying that it is Barack Obama who is leading the way, blazing a path towards your kids doing hard narcotics and other drugs. I got a couple things I want to say about this. First, though, to Bill O'Reilly, if you think that Barack Obama is the stoner-in-chief, that he's the big pro-drug politician, wait until you get a load of the politicians that the next generation is going to vote for. Because while Barack Obama shows a level of empathy for those who do drugs, those who've been imprisoned for it, than a lot of other politicians, especially presidents, haven't in the past, which is to his credit, and he has not been as aggressive in shutting down dispensaries and things like that. He still goes after them, just not as much as perhaps George W. Bush would. He's not a pro-drug president. He's not giving states of the union about how we need to legalize all drugs nationwide. But that is coming, by the way. So get ready for it, Bill O'Reilly. But next, you have his position on the nonviolent nature of these crimes. And so he says it's madness that President Obama would say that selling hard drugs is a nonviolent crime. I'm sorry for you. You seem to like the English language, Bill O'Reilly, but the words are literally true in this case. It's a nonviolent crime. And I know that we stereotypically think of, and there are a lot of instances of drug dealers committing violent crimes, but if a drug dealer murders someone, that's the violent crime, not the drug dealing that they might also do. You're still allowed to do other things. If you go and murder someone and you drove to do it, the driving doesn't become a violent crime, unless presumably you use the car in the service of that crime, in which case you'd have a point. So he doesn't have a problem with the current system, which I would argue has far more deadly consequences than kids getting a hold of even some of the harder drugs. Like, look, I have no interest in cocaine or anything like that, and I think that if you do cocaine regularly, it's probably gonna have a pretty bad effect on you. But he's perfectly fine with the current system of the sale of alcohol. He doesn't think that Anheuser-Busch is committing violent crimes. How many people in this country die every single year as a result of drinking? And I'm not even saying the secondary effects of drinking, like people getting in their car and then slamming into someone, killing themselves, killing the other person. I'm saying the direct result of people simply drinking that product that they are totally fine and legal to drink and then dying as a result of it. Are they violent criminals? Is Blue Moon a gangster? I don't think that Bill O'Reilly thinks that, and yet for some reason, if you sell a comparatively tiny amount of a drug, then you are a violent criminal, regardless of what else you do. Going beyond the alcohol, look at the pharmaceutical companies. I mean, we've been talking about New Hampshire specifically, about the opioid epidemic there, but you can go all over this country. You can go down to Florida where it's de facto fully legal, as easy as you want to get all these painkillers. Those things are killers in a way that many other drugs couldn't even dream of being. You take this stuff, in a lot of cases, you become dependent on it, addicted to it, because it is an incredibly addictive substance, and then some people end up going broke, getting thrown out on the street. Some people commit suicide. Some people simply die from overdoses of it. Is he calling for massive regulation of those? I don't think so. Now, I would argue, as I always do, I think that people should be free to destroy their bodies if they want to destroy their bodies. Look at my diet. I'm practicing what I preach. But if they're not harming others, then it makes no sense to demonize them. My example always is, if I wanted to, I could get a gallon of bleach and I could drink it. Now, you can try to make that illegal. It doesn't stop me from doing it. So if I want to do it in a form that I have to smoke or I have to inject into my body, if I want to do that, I'm going to do it. There's almost no war more futile than the war on drugs, except perhaps the war on porn, which we'll get to in a future video. And so the idea that you should demonize these people, that you should try to make them out to be the most violent criminals possible, no, we've got our crime problems in this country. We have our violent crime problems in this country. We should focus on that.